Hello everyone and welcome back to another top level match of Beyond All Reason. Today spawning in the southeastern corner of Rosetta, we have none other than GG Gaming. GG Gaming actually tied for first place for team leader with 8D, spawning in the northern section of Rosetta today. I guess we're gonna have a bit of a split decision making here. Both of these players representing the top of their team. But GG Gaming winning out with the blue color after all. Going to be playing as a Cortex commander and going into that bot lab right off the start here. All the way across the map. A name many know to love and know to fear. It's going to be Pro Randy. Pro Randy going into that vehicle bay here in the backline mirrored position all the way across the map from GG Gaming. Going to be going into that Armada bot lab here as the red commander. Should be a lot of fun. Rosetta has a very interesting, anomalous metal spot here, as you can see. It looks like bismuth to my eyes, the rainbow patterns there. But anyways, 10 metal per second means that you can get a astonishing economy up really quick here just by capturing this single metal point. Means that Chief Panda today is going to be in charge of the aggression. Likewise, Predator here, our green commander for the blue team, is going to be in charge of the aggression here from the center of the blue side of the center of the map here. It's always an interesting battle, and almost always we see these players go for the vehicle base, so I'm not surprised to see that that's what Chief Panda is going for. I think Chief Panda could be burdened to pay for maybe a solar panel or two off of a teammate, just send some of that metal around, spread the love, so to say, just to make sure that that energy is flowing in nice and neatly here, especially when you get an economy up and running this quickly and it's so based on a single metal extractor. You know, oftentimes it can be extremely valuable to have somebody building the energy for you just so you can get up even quicker. We're talking about seconds saved here, but a second saved might be a second sooner across the map, doing damage to the enemy, and that might just be more metal in your pocket because you don't have to deal with their enemies, or deal with their units rather. Tech's now running across the field here for Pro Exist. Gonna find a resbot, that's quite nice. Is he gonna be able to finish it off though before the grunts come in to reinforce? I don't think so. The grunt is going to cover for its friend here and allow that resbot to get back to eating up. In the meantime, Atik has snuck into the back line here and is gonna start working away at one of these metal extractors in the back here of 7 TV Poggies. I think I'll go with our purple player for today. Now it's nicely done that that resbot was able to eat up all those rocks here. The grunt's going to prevent any sort of snipage, but still, oftentimes, very easy, exactly, just like this, to find one of those resbots that's lurking around on the field and manage to get enough hits in to snipe it with a tick. Very nicely done right there by Jazzcast. Wow, 50 true scale, 50 and 48 true scale here, so we are definitely well into the pro leagues here. I hope you're ready for some top tier bar, because this is, on an aggressive map like this is about as action-packed as it can get. Already we see tons of units across the map here. We do have a couple of rascals that have already made their way through and are starting to fire away at the opposite forces in the back here. Going to be whittling down whatever they can, blasting away at that solar panel to turn it off. They're going to find a metal extractor over here too. I don't think they have the option to... Oh, wow, they trade so effectively on the retreat right there. That's quite impressive. Going to be able, after all, in order to, to shut down the wind turbine. Oh, they won't get the wind turbine. That's a hero tick right there, shutting that down so soon. Already grunts are harassing down some constructors that was sent forward. A bit odd that Jazzcast sent the constructors forward before going for a construction turret or anything like that here. Instead, just sending the constructions out and, well, to their doom, as the grunts now jump on top of both of those construction workers, sending the pawns and the ticks recoiling here. Jazzcast is going to need to take immediate action. More run-bys happening all over the place. There are units in every corner of this map trying to get damage done, but right now it looks like the blue team is in a commanding position here as far as getting damage across the field. This grunt now snipes a wind turbine, it snipes a metal extractor. Bunch of grunts shutting down the army here of Jazzcash, and some more grunts headed upstairs here to try and deal with this LLT. Not enough energy right now for the red player in order for this LLT to continuously fire. Oh, and so it will go down. Oh, it just barely goes down. Almost took out that last grunt with the explosion, but that grunt does live. Only 1% left on it, but it only needs 1%. There we go. Blitz will clean it up, but man, that came real close there for a second. Whoa, big snipe over here. So metal extractor was popped. I wonder if that was self-destructed. I think it might have been. Usually those don't kill the metal extractor all the way like that. I think that might have been self-destructed. GG Gaming going all the way into a T2 lab right off the cuff here. It's a lot of T1 solar panels, but yeah, I mean, it's basically enough to fund the T2 lab. Okay. Not the worst thing ever. We could really do with some energy sharing, though. If the team was willing to share a whole bunch of energy to GG Gaming and help build this lab as quickly as possible, it certainly could come up very, very speedily. 7 TV Poggies in a lot of trouble. That's a lot of pawns. Certainly enough to kill that commander. We could jump on it. I think it's probably a good idea to wait for that commander to overextend here. closer it gets to your line, of course, the easier of a time you're going to have getting that metal after the commander explodes. This commander going down, of course, wipes out that entire army as well. So now the reinforcing forces from 7 TV Poggies, our purple player, are going to be able to try and defend that corpse. However, reinforcing forces of the red player, those blitz tanks, are going to push forward here. Oh, pawns get on top of the grunts there. It's a delicate dance between those two. The grunts have longer range, lower damage. So if the pawns can jump on top of the grunts, they win the fight. If the grunts can kite the pawns, then they can win the fight. Of course, that's assuming even-ish numbers, right? Tom Ruler extended out here as well. Pretty far forward, actually, I would say. Pro-Exist has enough pawns already, again, in order to contest Tom Ruler's commander. Yeah, Tom Ruler is caught out in the open with no units to reinforce. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, commander's handed over to Pro Randy. Interesting decision here. We're going to hand the commander over to Randy. It's going to allow Randy to eat up all this juicy metal, feeding back for a T2 lab right now. That's really nice. Excellently done right here by Pro Exist. Using that advantage to feed the T2 growth, getting that T2 up and running even faster than before. Really nicely done right there. Tom Ruler might be able to get sniped here as well, this many pawns. The thing is, if you lose all your pawns, though, that leaves your commander out in the open as well. And that commander is the only speck of reclamation we have on the field right now. Commander rehanded back over to Pro Exist. That's such beautiful teamwork right there. Handing over the commander so that you don't have to share the metal one smidge at a time. You can just have it all flow into the right teammates' inventory, right? That is beautiful. Already a big aggravator bot battle over here. Aggravators firing away on both sides. We do have the commander repairing up whatever he can. For both teams, both Narnak and CJOP trying to repair whatever they can. The grunts do pull the trigger though and decide to jump in on top of all these aggravators, and for what it's worth, I think they got a good enough trade. They skewed this engagement towards, oh, that was excellent. Manages to snipe the commander there is CJOP, and that's going to be a tremendous amount of metal going back to this teal blue commander. Yep. Not enough forces around here in order to deal with all of these aggravators here for the teal commander, despite these grunts' best efforts, I will say. And that is going to be CJOP with an excellent hold over this tons and tons of metal right here. He's going to degun the lab. He could. He does get the degun on the lab. Kills the construction turret and the laser turret and all that sort of stuff as well. Very nicely done. Using the res bot in order to eat up all of this metal. And that is going to be a nice little advantage for the blue team. So a big advantage for the southern side of the red team. A big advantage for the northern side of the blue team here. I think we might end up in a yin-yang sort of a battle. Certainly could seem like it. That's usually how this map goes, because this northern side has quite a difficult contest against the players over here, because you usually have a techer and then you have a frontliner, and the frontliner has just about as much metal as the frontliner over here. Well, actually, they have more than the frontliner, for in this case the red team. So oftentimes that's how we see these matches swing out here, and mirrored, of course, to the southern side here. So it's pretty impressive. The GG Gaming is actually holding the line right now. No units, but a commander boldly standing out there and claiming up all this metal. We do have a ton of units from the purple player, though. Poggy's out here moving his grunts in. You can always fight command them towards pawns, and you know that they're going to trade relatively efficiently as long as you're not you don't let the pawns get on top, right? Wouldn't be the worst thing, just sending them in to continually fight command against these pawns, just making sure that you're continuously harassing. Cortex commanders that can stay up to the aggression with that can definitely get a huge advantage just by whittling down pawns one by one, slowly but surely. Huge run by over here. CJOP does sneak a whole bunch of grunts into the backline here. They pop that metal extractor, and you gotta remember that's 10 metal per second going down the drain right now. That needs to come up immediately. Chief Panda now in shambles right now. No units are out on the field. Yep, Fiends are gonna come to the rescue here, but man, that is already so much damage done by these laser-toting, gun-slinging grunts in the backline. Down goes the vehicle bay. Oh, that hurts. Chief Panda desperately in need of a T2 constructor to build this into a T2 metal extractor. Remember, 4 times metal from those T2 metal extractors. That would be 40 income per second. That could be huge. Massive bombing run headed out down south here. There's already a tremendous air force available from Rise Heaven. That's a lot of fighters we're sending with the bombers. I love to see it. There we go. Bombers drop their payload on this geothermal over here. Oh, just a hair away from killing that. That is so unfortunate. 0% HP left on that. What a bummer. The bombers are going to turn around. That's an advanced geothermal. The construction is stopped, however, so that it doesn't chain react if the bombers decide to turn around. Looks like the bombers have decided to just finish the job, and indeed they will turn around and snipe that geothermal plant right there. Very nicely done. Now fighters are picking this apart, one shot at a time. Bombers look like they're all going to go down, though. Yep. Fighters do shoot down the very last of the bombers, and that will be a wrap on the bombing, at least for the time being. Fiends managed to snipe a commander over here. It does look like CJOP's commander going down to the flaming breath of those fiends, the flaming spewage of those fiends, spraying forth a bout of destruction. Persecutor already set up on the front lines over here. That's quite impressive. Already up to T2 defenses. We are 10 minutes into this game, and we are on T2 frontline defenses. Comparing this to some of the other games I've casted recently, it's pretty impressive to watch the pros play. They get up to speed so much quicker. It really is something to behold. Pounders here caught by a lightning turret. Artillery trying its very best. Fiends jumping on top of the missile trucks though. Self-destruct. Oh, we did see it. Nice self-destruct right there. Managed to get so much value out of that fiend. In death, it managed to serve even greater a purpose here. So now it's jumping on top of all of these here. All of the units do go down. Predator's commander now in a whole lot of trouble. Looks like we have the EMP rework on. You can always tell because once units get EMP'd with the rework, they start to get really slow. A lot of medium tanks here to apply pressure though, trying to at the very least keep this team from capturing that commander wreckage. A lot of shurikens are produced now. Yeah, they're gonna jump on top of all these fiends over here. Allow for a decent trade from the green. He has fewer units, but it doesn't matter how many units you have if the enemy is completely paralyzed. Mauser now out on the field to dismantle all of this T1 infrastructure. Down go the LLTs with essentially no resistance. What do we have as far as tech goes? Well, GG Gaming pumping out a whole load of those Sheldons all at once right now. It's got the advanced metal extractors up and running already. We also have a Twitcher pumping out a whole bunch of fiends. Those are great as far as fire support goes, pun intended. They're excellent frontline units, very, very good at assault. You have to be careful with them though, because yeah, you can very easily throw them away and think you've done enough damage, only for your enemy to come back with a impressive army, and you realize you've overextended quite a bit. That being said, they're only 200 metal. Not the end of the world to invest in a couple of them and send them to their doom, especially if they manage to trade out for a lot of T1 chaff. And usually do pretty good against that. The rocket spiders hailing away with a siege of rocketry from afar. Man, those units are good. Rocket bots also contributing significantly. I shouldn't discount them, but I feel like the rocket spider is the real main contributor. Yeah, look at those rockets it's firing away from such long range. Volleys of 3, and it does so much damage. You can also fire while moving, which is important. Allows it to be very accurate. Not ideal against fast-moving targets, but a pounder is basically the ideal moving target, right? That isn't static defense. Very, very slow, very sturdy, prone to being out-kited by even a slow spider, as it were. Very nicely done. So they're gonna have a hard time hitting this grave robber, but they'll have a much easier time hitting the tanks. It's just one of those things, I suppose. Up north, looks like the Shork has just decided to pork up like a mofo. Just going to keep a whole bunch of these fiends at bay and mixed in with a whole bunch of grunts as well, just to try and keep some sort of standing army, applying counter pressure here to Orlani Zykus, the Seafoam green player that's going to be pumping out T2 units now from the front lines. Big push down south. Yep, we have the purple fiends mixed in with the blue Sheldon. Oh, Proxys is in a huge amount of trouble right now. Sheldon firing away, shredding off percentages of that commander's HP bar, 1%, and down he goes, taking out all of that critical infrastructure. That is a massive gaping hole in the red team's defenses on the southern side. We're going to need to see drastic measures taken to repel this army. We're going to need to see T2. We do indeed have the Jaguar rolling out, and I think that's a great option, especially against these Sheldon. Those Jaguar can jump on top of the Sheldon extremely quickly. They can melt those down really quick, especially if they're bunched up like this, which often they are, right? Because you queue them into a nice little line. And sometimes that can mean that you end up getting a really nice chain lightning connection here. Fiends leading the charge, but also providing the vision that these Sheldon need. There's a radar and a radar jammer included in this mix, but nothing beats perfect vision, like, for instance, that of the units running ahead here as the assault units. GG Gaming being sure to eat up all of this wreckage. It's very nice to see. Easy to forget, but very good to see. It's one of those ways that you can exacerbate your advantage here. A little bit of fiend action. We do have a little bit of a counter run by. Just trying to do anything to forestall the units coming out of this lab here. Those pawns, well, they could have got a nice pick on that Sheldon, I do believe, but instead they were microed to their doom. Yeah, more fiends have now hit the battlefield and are going to keep marching forward. GG Gaming actually completely full on metal right now. Well, not completely full, but 4,000 metal in the bank with no way to spend it. Oh, here comes the Jaguar, though. Shredding apart those T2 Sheldon. Down goes all of those siege units right here. Well, you know what? The Fiends actually cleaned up with that surprisingly well here. Yeah, you know what? Okay, the Jaguars actually didn't manage to melt as much of that as I thought. I figured it was all going to go down as well as the commander. Maybe those Jaguars sent in a little bit too hastily. Either way, they've pushed back the threat a little bit here. Not bad. Tigers and Quakers mixed in composition here to try and provide some sort of artillery fire as well as a sustainable front line. We do have Persecutors coming up all over the place. One Persecutor is already up. We have another one coming up as well. One of the most powerful things that these Twitchers can build is that Persecutor. 2,500 metal, but probably well worth it, especially if you can put it in a key location here. I would really like if we could try and squeeze one in a little bit closer, try and besiege this advanced metal extractor over there. That would be really nice. We have spy bots over here providing perfect vision. That's always lovely to see. I wonder how this Persecutor is firing. I suppose it just has radar coverage. Not bad. There was a little bit of a fighter wave sent over here. Not sure what their purpose was. They didn't hit any critical infrastructure at the very least. No advanced geo explosions, so I'm gonna assume that there was a target that didn't manage to crumble, collapse or crumble. Rattlesnake coming up now, middle of the map. GG Gaming just using the commander to disintegrate so many of these lightning tanks, and down they go. Is he gonna escape? Wow. That commander escaping is so impressive. That commander really should have gone down there. Those lightning tanks had every right to kill that commander, and they just barely managed not to. Time for an expeditious retreat. Grunts versus lightning tanks. I mean, the lightning tanks are basically meant to counter the grunt. It's kind of the perfect storm scenario here. However, proper splitting and enough units, anything is possible. Flak turrets are set up over here. Interestingly, it looks like T2 was just in time to save this push from becoming a, well, just a total nightmare. Resbot going to be patching together this commander. I really feel like this Resbot might be better suited eating up the corpses of this battlefield, but it's not like we couldn't produce another one or two. And indeed we do. Have them coming out to the front lines here to try and contribute any way that they can. That rocket was on its way to the moon. Fortunately, it has a dummy fuse. Make sure that it detonates at some point. Don't worry about that. It's a feature in most modern missiles. If they miss their target and they detect that they've just been cruising for a little while, they will just detonate. Just to make sure they don't, you know, fly themselves in circles or anything. Yeah, these Persecutors are starting to become a nuisance, for sure. Firing away on the front lines and causing quite a bit of problems. Another one's about to come up here as well. Oh, killer EMPs right there. Oh, that one didn't manage to pop. Killer EMP, though, on the northern side here, at the very least, going to shut down half of these Mauser and allow for the Fiends and the Grunts to jump on top of all of these artillery trucks. Very nicely done. It's EMP rework, right? So it makes them more resistant to EMP, but they move slower, they react slower, they fire slower. Everything slows down by whatever factor of a percentage the EMP beam gets to. The EMP percentage gets to anyways. What are your thoughts on the EMP? I'd love to hear them down below in the comment section. You can also hit the like button down there if you are enjoying these daily Beyond All Reason videos. Always, you know, helps me fight the algorithm for control. Wrestle some attention out of the algorithm. Always fun. We now have a huge row of Arbiters, and that's basically exactly what you need in order to shut down this kind of a defensive setup. And there you go. Every volley of theirs able to pierce the shells protecting those Persecutors. Well, that commander got really close right there. Uh-oh. The Shork blissfully unaware of the 7 ICBMs headed directly towards the towards his head. Would have lost Dead Man stepping up here as well, trying to keep the commander in position in case any cheeky early T3s start to come out and hit the field, and I do think it's about time for it. Frankly, a little surprised we don't see any already. Looks like everyone's heading into advanced fusion reactors. There we go. Oh no, that's a T2. Yeah, okay. No T3 yet. I guess nobody's got that killer instinct quite yet. Mostly sticking around on T2, hoping to gain some sort of an advantage before going for that T3 lab. That T3 gantry, it's very expensive. It's a leap of faith to jump into that, especially when you're not sure exactly the status of your army or your allies' army. It'd be a little bit difficult to gauge whether that's a good idea or a deadly idea. These Resbots here are contributing significantly, though. You can see the red team does have a lot of cash. Like, all of them have significant spares of metal, or significant supplies of metal. It just needs to be put into something, and I think T3 might be the way to do it. Yeah, I'm pretty convinced that it's about time for T3. Especially for the red team. Yeah, for the red team. The blue team could probably also afford it. Predator has a lot of metal right now as the middle ground enjoyer. Could definitely go into that T3, but it looks like going into that advanced fusion reactor first to make sure that at the very least there's enough energy to fund the T3, right? What good is a Razorback if you don't have the energy to fire it? We have the Tick Swarm, which is quite nice. Allows these Mauser to fire a little more accurately, which is good. Never mind. Juno missile will shut down the tick spam quite nicely. Mauser getting a huge connection out in the middle of the map here. Jazzcash doing a great job of connecting with all of those critical besiegement units. Yeah, you can see them firing away at whatever they can to shut down the radar bots, shut down the jammer bots, and eventually reveal these units to the world. Meaning it will not be long before we see all of the forces here from Tom Ruler be disintegrated. Yeah, Tom Ruler going for a fusion reactor right now, so no unit production on the dockets. Means that for the time being, this is all we've got. A couple of Fiends and some Sheldon and cursory jammer and radars. LRPC is built up here. Interesting decision. I feel like we don't see these very often unless they're used in like an end game sort of a way, but they certainly can get some value out. I mean, you can see the range on this thing is just tremendous. You could fire away into the enemy's base and more. Not to mention the front lines you could probably devastate with this thing. Probably even hit the back lines over here. Yeah, there's a couple of areas where this LRPC could probably fire into. I would love to see one over here. I feel like this would be a really powerful spot for a couple of them. Just firing away at the opposition's advanced metal extractor. Oh, by the way, was just sniped by a couple of these negotiators. The Cortex stealthy rocket launcher truck. Nicely done shutting that down. That's 40 metal down the drain per second that the red team no longer has in their accounts. It's going to bring these numbers just a little bit closer here. Red team sitting at about 800-ish metal per second. Blue team chilling at about 900-ish. Numbers fluctuating quite a bit here based on who's spending and who's buying and all that good nonsense, but more or less I think the advantage is in the blue team's favor. Fusion reactor popped. Geothermal, rather, popped. I like this, the ticks here being queued in such a way that they just run back and forth. They're on a repeat command, or at least they should be. We're not looking at, whoa, not looking at these guys, sorry about that. There we go, yeah, repeat command, just tell them to move back and forth like this. Makes them very hard for the siege units like Sheldons and Mausers and all that sort of stuff to hit, but it also allows you to keep them in the front with essentially no micro. You just leave them up there and they do a great job. Oh, until a Juno lands. Yeah, that's one way to get rid of them. Just drop a Juno on all those ticks and they'll be gone lickety-split. We are building a tremendous wave of forces over here for Lost Dead Man. Looks like there was a tactical nuclear missile launcher. Where was it? There it is. One of them is already up. Do we have another one? I just saw one fire, so I'm not sure where the other... Oh, here it is. Yeah, this green one right over here. 3 missiles charged, so definitely should try and fire away. No epic targets, though. Yeah, kind of in an unfortunate position because there's not really anything for it to hit. You might consider dismantling it, if that is the case, right? Does you no good sitting idly. Pro Randy has decided to go into T3, figuring that'll be what breaks the stalemate here out in front. Meanwhile, I wouldn't be surprised to see T3 coming up somewhere around here for the blue team as well. And we see a huge amount of economy here for 8D, going into more and more advanced fusion reactors. Never go wrong with another advanced fusion reactor. That's a lot of whirlwinds building here. We've got 45 so far, and they're continuing to mount. And you also see more fighters coming out from the blue player as well. Also trying to get a big economy. Everyone and their mother trying to build a massive, massive economy, just so that they have the force necessary to deal with their opponent here. This static line is epic. CJOP definitely holding the line here, but this is the side that's typically weaker. So I really think we need to see more aggression more than anything else. I'm surprised that we're still on T1 bot lab here. I really feel like going into T2 unit production wouldn't be the worst idea. Trying to get a couple of spy bots out, just positioning them in key areas would be very useful as well. There's that tactical nuclear missile launcher. Boom. Taking out critical infrastructure right there. I think it took out the missile launcher here for the orange players. That's a bummer. Oftentimes that's how that goes. Meanwhile, down south, big collapse right here. Whole bunch of fiends jump on top of the pawns, showing just how much more efficient they are trading out against those T1 units. This is exactly why I say to spam T1, or sorry, to spam T2 instead of spamming T1. Oftentimes it feels like it's more expensive, but it's so much more efficient in the long run that it's well worth it. These sumos need to be spread out, by the way. These are spread out in a line, they can get a much better trade here. Thor now on the field, though, and it will show itself almost immediately. One of those sumos paralyzed into non-operation before being blasted into non-commission. What are we doing with all this metal? Ah, we're going into advanced fusion reactors. Very good. Oh, those tactical missile launchers, man. They just keep raining away on the orange team, or the orange player, rather, up north here. Really hurts. Every time I look up there, I see a little explosion. Well, that was a nice LRPC shot up north here as well. We did just see a whole bunch of build power get chain reacted off of the pink player. Didn't have a shield up in time, and those LRPCs are starting to whittle away at everything that is within their range. As long as they can't fire into the backline proper over here, pop a bunch of energy converters, pop a bunch of build power, they're going to be all right. But now that T3 is on the field, things are starting to get a little bit scary. GG Gaming, in the right spot to degun some of these units down. I think the Thor should probably be top precedent, but that Razorback's another juicy target as well. Marauder should essentially just be ignored. Oh, Commander is revealed right there for a second. Randy's cursor is here, so I bet he was paying attention. Dragons are also on the field now, too. Gonna start flying forward, trying to do some damage. They do manage to burst down that bulwark. You can degun dragons, by the way. I think he's sacrificing the commander to try and blow up the dragons. You can just degun them. I know it sounds weird, but you gotta trust me. You can hit D and just select the dragon, and it'll fire your degun up into the air and degun down the dragon. And it's a very effective way of dealing with them. Yeah, infinite damage from that commander is very, very valuable. And it's a little micro tip that you may not have been aware of, so there you go. Now you know. Yeah, this Thor is devastating the lines over here. This is a pretty brutal way of breaking the lines. Just go for a couple of Thors, a couple of Razorbacks for kind of anti-spam support. GG Gaming. A little close to the commander. Well, these units are nice and lined up, though, and he can smell it. Oh, he goes for the degun. He misses the first one, though, and that reveals him, meaning that the Thor and the other Razorbacks have enough time to fire. It's going to be the end of GG Gaming's commander. I think that's his last one, too. I think he was given another one. That was the last of the two that he's had control over. At this point, it is only a matter of time before we see the southern side completely crumble under the weight of the T3, accompanied, of course, by a healthy tick spam, which is always important. Their T3 are nothing without their ticks. I'm doing my part. Gosh, those Razorbacks are cool. They might be my favorite unit, just aesthetically speaking. They're a brutal one, but they are so beautiful. The perfect blend of form and function, as Mobius might say. Anybody else been keeping up with Loki? Marvel's Loki? I sure have. It's been actually one of my favorite Marvel pieces of content for a good long while here. I've really enjoyed it quite a lot. It's the first show they've made that actually genuinely piqued my interest, and I just watched because it was the only thing. It's the first one that felt like it actually had something creative to say. It was I was pleased. Anyway, this southern side is in heaps of trouble. Karganeth are out now, trying to deal with these Razorbacks. Wow, excellent, just shot themselves in the toe. What on earth? The missiles were curving backwards and hitting his own base. That is just unfortunate as far as that goes. Not really anything you can do to out-micro about that. You just kind of have to take that one on the nose. Razorback trying to degun, or trying to blast down the build power here. Oh, he doesn't get it. That was really close. Excellent micro right there by GG Gaming, keeping that build power alive by rebuilding it while using the Behemoths and the Shuriken to paralyze the Razorback coming in. Very nicely done. Shiva suck against tick spams. The tick spam actually counters the Shiva, which is bizarre to say, but it's because the Shiva does so much friendly fire damage that oftentimes they will end up killing themselves when they have to deal with a whole bunch of ticks. It's a hilarious and odd kind of a matchup, but it is what it is. Oh, you know what I'd love to see is if these were resurrected. You could resurrect these, turn them around, and fire them directly into these bases. That would be so epic. Looks like these are just going to reclaim them instead. But man, that would be a really cool play. We saw that game recently here where Angry Strawberry ended up flipping some of the static defense of the enemy against them. That was just always really fun to see, right? Just makes you feel epic. Mammoth serving as the HP shield for all of these assault units now pushing forward. Well, catapults are firing though. Catapults are pretty perfect for shutting down exactly this kind of push. Nicely done. Razorback's going to be enough to shut down those wasps tickling away at them. There are also some flak trucks that are firing away up into the stratosphere here to clear that air chaff. I do believe these Razorbacks are going to now re-engage against some of these Karganeth. Take a pretty favorable trade. Now goes one and another. I think it will not be too long before we see a third, fourth, and fifth. These Karganeth all falling at the hands, the laser hands of the Razorback. Well, they're a little bit just disjointed, so that's a little unfortunate. We also have the Shuriken up in the sky, slowing down the Razorbacks significantly. They're quite funny when they're slowed down, because their laser blasts slow down a lot. Thors, of course, immune to the effects of EMP. They are the gods of lightning, so obviously they're immune to the effects of EMP. But we are starting to see a mounted T3 response up north here. Yeah, that's a lot of Shiva in company with catapults. Catapults need specific targets. You really don't want them on auto fire at will. You really want to make sure that you're selecting the appropriate target. Otherwise, catapults can oftentimes do immense amounts of friendly fire damage. They're really at their most elegant when you're using them to besiege bases or besiege static defense targets, like for instance what Chief Panda has set up here. I think that would probably look a whole lot better if those catapults just went and dealt with that, as opposed to trying to do their best to contribute against a T1 spam. It's usually where we see those start to fail. Either way, though, it doesn't really matter, as Grunts have crested the hill and are now well into the base here of the Shork, who's going to, I do believe, shortly have an incursion of T3 units knocking on his back doorstep. There is not a lot you can do about this in this situation. Orange catapults trying their best. They are on hold fire mode. They need to choose a target. Firing up at this ridge line wouldn't be a bad idea. There they go. Well, a lot of those missed, but better than nothing, I suppose. Yeah, the orange player desperately trying, Lost Dead Man here, desperately trying to keep his ally alive. Very good teamwork in that regard. Trying to use every T3 Cortex unit under the sun in order to keep his allies, advanced fusion reactors, from chain reacting. But it's an uphill battle, both ways. Razorback's forced to step around these T2 walls. Not really too miffed about it, I do believe, though. They're more than happy to engage a bunch of Shiva and Grunts. Razorbacks struggle more against Mammoths than they do against Shiva, which is pretty hilarious. Shuriken here, also so paralytic. Harnessing their inner taser beam. And, the Razorbacks have stopped moving. Uh-oh. A little bit of an APM stall on these Razorbacks here. Suddenly they're not firing, which is weird. Not moving, rather. So many corpses lying in ruin over here. There's also a huge amount of T3. It looks like a couple of Razorbacks were resurrected and will be sent across the map, accompanying some of these Karganeth. Now that is a powerful combo. Karganeth plus Razorback. That is a tough one to call. It's a lot of single target damage mixed in with a whole lot of anti-spam damage. It's just that's just a very, very powerful composition all around. Razorback will be sent on a diving mission. Its job, whether or not it chooses to accept it, is to dive as far as possible so that it can get, at the very least, a little bit of intel. It's a very expensive scout, but a effective one, nonetheless. Razorbacks and their little tick buddies surrounding the Karganeth. The ticks tickling away at the Karganeth feet actually does do a lot. It means that the Razorbacks get their surround bonus, which every unit can take advantage of. But yeah, you apply the surrounding bonus, and your units suddenly receive almost a doubling in damage. It's really quite something. And yeah, so accompanying your units with a whole bunch of ticks really does make your army quite a bit more effective. It's a very cheap way of making your units fire just a lot more piercing to the enemy's hardened shells. A lot of friendly fire right here as well. Yeah, those Karganeth, they don't really care too much. Blasting away all those res bots without a care in the world. Looks like Pro Shaman has decided to just go into as many dragons as possible here. Yep, we're just pumping out more and more and more of them. 5,000 dragons, 5,000 metal rather, of dragon. They're quite the unit. They're the bane of my existence because I've been trying to get that supremacy mission completed for some time now. And I finally completed it, by the way. Not once, but now twice. But yeah, dragons cause an immeasurable amount of pain in that mission, at least early on they do. The weirdest thing happened. I played through that entire mission, three more hours of grueling stalling and porcupine defensing just for me to get to the final end screen. And as I hit exit, my game froze and then crashed. So I didn't end up getting the achievement updated on my scenarios tab. I was in shambles. I even made a post in the official Beyond All Reason Discord. I was very distraught. The Shork has lost the base. Yeah, there's nothing left here for the Shork. All of it has been reduced to mere atoms. Now there's a Juggernaut. Stomping its way across the map in the northern section of the map here for CJOP. It's a lot of Juno missiles launched up here. Dear Lord. That area has never had less radar or radar jammers up on top of it, or scouts. A lot of Karganeths shooting at the bodies of their fallen brethren. Not ideal. The Titan is now out on the field, by the way. The brother for that Titan is also making its way to the front lines. Look at this anti-air defense. We have, roughly speaking, in the middle of the map here, 66 nettles. That's a dense anti-airfield for an extreme cost, and probably way less effective than like 4 flak turrets or something. Juggernaut, relatively unanswered for. Yeah, it is just stomping its way into Narduk's base. Uh-oh. Lost Deadman trying to move his commander forward to D-gun, but I really think it's too much, too little, too late. Down go the Aphis. Juggernaut will at least be brought down so you can reclaim it or resurrect it, whichever you should so choose to prefer. Dragons here are going to try and mop up all these units as well. Man, those dragons, pretty impressive, huh? Does it justify the 5,000 metal per dragon? I don't know. But it definitely don't feel good to be blasted by them. I'll tell you that much. Oftentimes, these big, drawn-out T3 battles end up going the distance, or rather, end up failing to go the distance, and usually that's because one side or the other will manage to reclaim more than the other. You can sort of think of the total amount of metal on the map as being just a number, right? And then each team has a percentage of that total amount of metal on the map. Maybe that would be a pretty cool statistic, actually, right? Because metal is lost when units are destroyed, right? And the wreckages are completely destroyed. But not all the metal is lost. A lot of it is recycled here, so the net amount of metal on the map would be a pretty cool statistic to have up in the top right corner. And then the percentage per team of the metal that is available, right? Because you can have crazy production, but if the opponent just ate up all of the wreckages all over the field, then yeah, you're gonna have crazy production, but your opponent now has more and more metal out on the field here. Juggernaut now being used to break the middle of the map here. Firing away whatever it can. Juggernaut not exactly concerned with the triflings of anything less than other Juggernauts. It simply marches. March and fire. That is the Juggernaut's only prerogative. Now it is starting to get dangerously close to Chief Panda's base. However, it is heading in the wrong direction. Gonna try and jump on top of these Vanguard. For what it's worth, those shotgun cannons doing tremendous work. Blasting away at those Vanguard. Yep. Oh, we're gonna self-destruct it here too. Nicely done. I think we're a little late on that. It's a good idea anyways. But yeah, that was about 6 of those 8 Vanguard going down. I think it was about that many anyways. That is a wall of steel. The Great Mammoth Wall. Here to ruin your day. Yeah, that is a bummer to push into. They're just so sturdy. Commander did go down right there. This Juggernaut gonna self-destruct much earlier. I think it's probably a good idea. Try and use that nuclear explosion to just clear away a larger part of the center of the map. There we go. Massive explosion takes out all of the yellow in the middle of the map. There's not much left in terms of defense here for the yellow player. Big band of Titans have grouped together here and are going to try and get some value out. They are, well, they need to be respected. This many Titans is certainly well capable of pushing deep into enemy lines, causing massive amounts of damage. However, that being said, Titans are also paralyzable. A couple of EMP bombers, a ridiculous amount of shurikens, basically any high EMP source, going to be able to, yeah, do quite a lot of work against these bad boys if you manage to actually stun them. The Mammoths do even impressively well against the Titans here. I'm shocked. I mean, this is more Titans than there are Mammoths, and the Mammoths are still holding on relatively well. That's, I mean, there's something to be said about that. That's pretty impressive. CGOP's commander is available here. We're going for a Calamity here on the northern side, or rather the northern mountain pass here. Looks like a Calamity has already come up and running. The northern side, yeah, the other northern side. Yeah, Calamity now firing away into the base here of, well, it's trying to fire into the base of Pro Shaman. It's instead firing kind of off the bubble shield here, but eventually chain reacting, not taking out only that base, but also the base of Jazz Cache here, all but the advanced fusion reactors. And I do believe this is going to be more than enough to break the stalemate on the northern side here. Tons of shield bubbles did come up. We have 5 shield bubbles. I don't know if that's enough, though. I think you might need, like, 8. Maybe. Just maybe we're all right. I'm still going to consider it pretty close, though. A very healthy Juggernaut, making it extremely far down the line. Whoa. Yeah, this Juggernaut is way, way into the back line here of the red team. Pro Shaman going in for the D-gun here. It's too close already, though, I think. Just barely managed to avoid a catastrophic failure right there of all of the build power as well as the shields and all that sort of stuff. Very nicely done by Pro Shaman to get that commander into range quick enough there. You know what? These shields do seem to be holding out here. Gotta give them credit. Looks like it's 3 shields, but I would definitely, I would say go for 5. Not the area where you exactly want to skimp out here. These Titans are pretty clumped together. Rise 7 could get some killer D-guns right here. Oh, the Titans are grouping up even more. Oh, this could be just beautiful. Oh, there it is. There it is. 3, 4. Oh, he doesn't get the 5th one, but that was killer right there. Manages to D-gun down 4 of those Titans right here. Another one going to be paralyzed to death as well. Yep. Slows down until it essentially can't do anything. There you go. There's another Titan caught in the paralytic grasp by those shurikens. With the EMP rework, shurikens have become even more powerful. As powerful as they already were, they're going to become even more powerful, as you've just seen. A couple of just normal grunts have run on through. Well, they're kind of stuck just looking at this Titan. sort of in awe, right? How could they build something so big? Nani? I've been watching a new show on Netflix called Pluto. It's a cyberpunk-esque anime universe featuring robots and whatnot. And I won't spoil too much in case that sounds interesting to you, but it is pretty damn good. I was pleasantly surprised to take a look at it and be drawn immediately into that plotline. Anywho, it does look like, with the help of that Calamity coming up in the middle of the map here, projectiles kind of breaking there. We are going to draw to a close here as the blue team manages to seize victory over the red. What a lovely match back and forth on Rosetta. Love to see these pros get up and running. This could have easily been a 70-minute game if it were, you know, less experienced players, but they got us in and out of here in just under 44 minutes, and I sure love to see that. Pro Randy winning the Trader Award, CJOP winning the Destroying Enemy Resource Production Award. Very nicely done. Those Juggernauts probably having a key role in creating that reality. Anyways, sure hope you enjoyed today's video. You can always drop a like to show me that, or leave a comment down below. I do read all the comments. I just have less and less time these days, but I do try to comb through them whenever I do have a second. But either way, I just hope that you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the very next Beyond All Reason video. Peace out, my folks.